Most video games are designed to be fun. Some are designed to be scary. But the games on today's list weren't content with simply frightening players. These titles crossed lines. They explored themes of murder, torture, mental illness, abuse, death, and human suffering in ways that left players disturbed long after turning off their consoles. Some were banned in multiple countries. Others became infamous internet legends. And a few are so unsettling that many players refuse to finish them. Manhunt. Released in 2003 by Rockstar Games, Manhunt quickly became one of the most controversial games ever created. The story follows a death row inmate, James Earl Cash. At the beginning of the game, Cash is supposedly executed by lethal injection. But instead of dying, he wakes up in a decaying city controlled by a sadistic filmmaker known only as Director Starkweather. Starkweather has a horrifying proposition. If Cash kills enough people for his snuff films, he'll earn his freedom. What follows is a descent into brutality unlike any mainstream gaming had ever seen before. Anything mainstream gaming has ever seen before. Players aren't encouraged to simply defeat enemies. They're encouraged to execute them. The game rewards patience and stealth. Sneak behind an enemy, wait for the targeting reticle to turn red, and unleash increasingly violent executions. Plastic bags, crowbars, baseball bats, pieces of broken glass. Every weapon comes with multiple levels of execution, each more graphic than the last. The camera zooms in. The sound design becomes sickeningly realistic. Victims scream and beg. And unlike many action games, Manhunt doesn't feel heroic. It feels wrong. That was exactly why it sparked worldwide controversy. Politicians condemned it. News outlets called it a murder simulator. Several countries banned it or censored it. The controversy reached a fever pitch when media reports attempted to link the game to real-life violence. Whether those claims were fair remains debated, but one thing is undeniable. Manhunt's atmosphere remains deeply unsettling. The abandoned factories, the filthy alleyways, the constant feeling that you're being watched. Everything about the game feels dirty and hopeless. Unlike traditional horror games filled with monsters and supernatural creatures, Manhunt's horror comes from something far more disturbing: human cruelty. The realization that every terrible act committed in the game is something that could happen in real life makes it far harder to dismiss. Even today, over 2 decades later, Manhunt remains one of the gaming's darkest and most disturbing experiences. The Final Exam. Released in 2024, The Final Exam places players into one of the most terrifying situations imaginable: a school shooting. The game begins in what should be one of the safest places in society, an American high school. But within moments, panic erupts. Gunshots echo through the hallways, students scream, teachers scramble for cover, and players are forced to make impossible decisions in a desperate attempt to survive. Unlike most horror games, there are no supernatural creatures stalking you. Instead, the threat is something painfully real, something that has happened countless times in real life, and that reality is what makes the experience so disturbing. Players only have about 10 minutes to escape the school, mirroring the average duration of a real school shooting event. As they move through classrooms, locker rooms, hallways, and gymnasiums, they must hide, barricade doors, stay quiet, and make split-second decisions that could mean the difference between life and death. The game doesn't rely on graphic violence. It intentionally avoids showing gore, blood, or even the shooter directly for much of the experience. But the only thing that makes it more unsettling, your imagination fills in the blanks. Every distant gunshot feels real. Every scream in the hallway sends a wave of dread through the player. Every classroom door feels like it might be the safest place available. The Final Exam creates a kind of fear rarely seen in gaming. Not the fear for the unknown, the fear of something all too familiar. The game was created in collaboration with advocates whose son was killed during the Parkland school shooting, with the goal of raising awareness and encouraging discussions about preventing future tragedies. That mission sparked intense debate online. Some praised the game for confronting a difficult reality, while others questioned whether such a subject should be turned into an interactive experience at all. Regardless of where players stand on the debate, most agree on one thing: the final exam is uncomfortable. Not because it shocks, not because it disgusts, but because it forces players to imagine themselves in a situation that no student should ever have to face. And when a horror game can terrify people without monsters, blood, or jump scares, it proves that reality can sometimes be far more frightening than fiction. For that reason, the final exam deserves a place among the most disturbing video games ever created. The Cat Lady. Few games tackle depression and suicide directly as The Cat Lady. Released in 2012, the game follows Susan Ashworth, a lonely middle-aged woman who has lost all hope in life. The story begins with Susan taking her own life. Most games would end there. The Cat Lady is only getting started. After her death, Susan encounters a mysterious entity who tells her she cannot truly die until she confronts a group of dangerous individuals known as the Parasites. What follows is a deeply disturbing psychological journey. The game explores themes many horror titles avoid: depression, self-harm, loneliness, abuse, mental illness, and grief. Unlike traditional horror games, many are simply people. Cruel people, the kind of individuals capable of causing unimaginable damage to others. The Cat Lady contains disturbing imagery, but its greatest strength lies in its emotional realism. Many moments feel painfully authentic. Players witness Susan struggling through despair while slowly discovering reasons to continue living. The atmosphere is bleak, the soundtrack is haunting, and nearly every chapter leaves players emotionally unsettled. It's not the kind of horror that makes you jump, it's the kind that stays with you for days afterwards. A reminder that some of the darkest horrors aren't monsters, they're the battles people fight inside their own minds. Harvester. Released in 1996, Harvester looks like a bizarre fever dream brought to life. The game begins with a man named Steve waking up in a strange town with no memory of who he is. At first, the town seems normal. People mow their lawns, children play outside, neighbors smile and wave, but almost immediately, players notice something isn't right. The townspeople casually discuss murder. Violence is treated as entertainment, and nearly everyone behaves like a psychopath wearing a human mask. As Steve investigates, the town becomes increasingly grotesque. Players encounter torture chambers, human experimentation, cannibalism, mutilation, and some of the strangest characters ever created for a video game. What truly makes Harvester disturbing is its unpredictability. Every conversation feels wrong. Every location hides another nightmare. You never know whether you're about to uncover a clue or witness something horrifying. The game's use of digital live actors only makes things stranger. Characters stare directly into the camera with unsettling expressions, creating an uncanny feeling that remains effective even decades later. As the story unfolds, reality itself begins to collapse. The truth behind the town is revealed through increasingly disturbing events that challenge everything players thought they understood. Many people describe Harvester as feeling less like a game and more like a bad dream. One where every turn leads deeper into madness. Nearly 30 years later, it's still one of the weirdest and most disturbing experiences gaming has ever produced. Soma. Released in 2015, the game follows Simon Jarrett, a man who undergoes an experimental brain scan after a serious car accident. When he wakes up, he finds himself trapped inside an underwater research facility over 100 years into the future. As Simon explores the dark and abandoned station, he discovers that humanity has been wiped out and many of the people still alive are actually human minds copied into machines. The deeper he ventures, the more disturbing the truth becomes. Soma asks terrifying questions about consciousness, identity, and what truly means to be human. If your mind is copied into another body, is that still you? Or are you simply creating a new person while the original remains behind? While the game features creepy monsters and tense encounters, its greatest horror comes from existential themes. The ending delivers a devastating realization that has left many players questioning life, death, and consciousness long after finishing the game. Soma isn't just one of the scariest horror games ever made, it's one of the most psychologically disturbing.